Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. This should be part 3. Again, I'd like to remind you, if I start saying things in a way that's hard to listen to, feel free to switch to the annotations. And keep in mind, the annotations are sometimes deliberately incorrect. They do something funny there. And so keep in mind, they might very well edit this video one day. They edit the sound of my voice to be consistent with their social engineering process, their psychological construct, their occult game, where Hollywood and propaganda and the military propaganda and political groups and social clubs overlap as they do some cultural engineering into society. And that includes trying to make some groups seem superior. Look up eugenics, social Darwinism, biodemography, and scientific racism. It should fill in a lot of blanks there. Okay. So at this point, again, Kyle was 19 turning 20. I was 16 turning 17. And there's a big difference between me being 16 there and me being 16. Well, not turning 17 anytime soon. Actually, I was like 16 and a half. Me being 16 after I get back from Cedar Reform School in Southern California. And it wasn't because of the incidents with Kyle, but though my parents were mad about it, it was because I was leaving the house without telling them. You know, I didn't want to, basically not too many times, enough to piss them off. My parents were very controlling, and I was smoking weed and getting caught all the time, and they were pissed off, and the government had gotten it to their head, so they sent me to this very serious reform school program. I get kicked out of there, and I go to a behavioral modification program in Idaho, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and at the reform school, it was by the largest concentration of skinheads in America, which is in Orange County, which is not that far from San Bernardino. And in Coeur d'Alene, and you know, where I was at the hospital there, actually in the psychiatric unit. I got there because I went through the motions of trying to kill myself at that time, okay, in order to get out of the behavior modification program. You see what I'm saying? The point was that I'd have to, you know, I wasn't allowed to contact my parents in Ascent Behavior Modification Wilderness Program. So I put a belt around my neck in the bathroom. I waited. The counselors came in, and then they took me to the psychiatric unit where I was able to contact my parents and convince them to take me home. And I came back a very pissed off guy, very betrayed by the world, very betrayed by my family. And while I was there, I carved a broken heart into, because Maria Mello had broken my heart. Her name ironically was Mello, and I was very angry. And so in this part, I'm going to put that picture on the screen of me about 17, maybe 6 months after I get back, maybe 8 months, maybe 10. Okay, they edit the picture, they edit the look in my eyes, they try to make it look evil, they try to make it look like a Jewish occultist, crypto Jew or something, they try to make it look like Western occult, clown, circus, fair bullshit. But I was a straight killer. At that point, there wasn't a person in history that could beat me at single combat. I'd outmaneuver him, I'd cut him open. If you look at the original picture, you can see it in my eyes, it's very sharp. It's like a sharper than a leopard's look when it's about to spring into action. Just a straight killer, okay? Having mastered my martial arts and so on, having ran through the scenarios that had me pissed off, I was and am unbeatable, okay? But of course, there's the fumes and the poisons, and they've crippled me, so I might very well injure myself if I ever got into a fight again, or they might fume me and set me up to lose or something. You poison me more that day or something. They do this stuff. They coordinate things. Lots of people know that. Okay, so at this point, anyone with any sense knows that someone in my shoes then or now is not expected to masterfully make decisions without making minor mistakes. But to this day, my moves are the wisest on the planet, by far. The government did bitch-ass shit that some of their workers would admit to me later. This included manipulating my emotions, and they actually caused changes of behavior to my embarrassment at times. At times, there was funny stuff that was done, okay? And I can say that with 100% confidence in my masculinity, in my courage, in everything I've done, right? I never went out like a bitch, you know. I had embarrassing moments, and that was part of their kind of technology-assisted smear campaign against me. Keep in mind that I know there are countless bootlickers who would pretend that I am magically mentally ill. I'm sure that all the wisest and the best in society would believe me. No offense to anyone, but they wanted me to look bad as I am of a certain warrior Nigerian patriarchal line and gene expression, and people in Morgan Hill and elsewhere in America were and generally are of Jewish, white, especially Spanish patriarchal descent. And America was and still is a scientific racist society that is run by racist geeks and immature white Jews and LGBT types, of all types. They basically want people who are more related to them and who do things their way in a certain ways to look more appealing. They massacre countless people with other developed nations and their allies around the world to achieve this, and they play sick frat-like games as they purge the wisest and the best. As they say, the good die young. And obviously I, Christ, do not approve of what they are doing. Okay, so when you think about what a Nigerian is, Nigerians have all shapes and sizes. Some are very athletic, small guys. Some aren't so athletic. Some are big, fat guys. Some are big, strong guys. What had happened was you get the most intense warrior Nigerian type, and you kind of, my mom is white, so her bones and her body structure is different, and it created this ideal kind of genetic mix. And my mom's a very smart person, so there's a lot of intelligence there. It cannot be replicated. It cannot be done again. It cannot be done in the first place. This was the pinnacle of natural human breeding. Everything else is some kind of technological bullshit these days. There's no way to one-up me. The top martial arts ever possible with a fair scale, righteousness and justice, the measuring line, and plume line, as they say. But if you want to understand Nigerians, think about, Debo from Friday. Think about the main black gangster from the TV series Oz. He was a big African guy from West Africa. He's a Yoruba, right? Well, that's a different tribe, but it's right next to my tribe, the Igbos, right? In the story, he was a Yoruba at least. Okay? Watch the movie Tears of the Sun. Look at them and think about what they're getting at. It's not a great example. Look up Nigerian bodybuilders. After a while, you'll see what I mean. There's a distinct gap between Nigerians and every other type of person, including other Africans. Okay? And that's key here. There's a lot of big white guys who are jealous, a lot of little racist white guys, rich Jews, and they know that there's a reason why there was a guy of Igbo descent who played the Black Panther in the movie Black Panther. And again, no offense to anyone, just make this video brief and cover what needs to be covered. And of course, when I was engaged to a white person, I'm not a racist. My mother's white, what have you. So anyway, and again, I'm half white, so if I would have had children with her, they'd probably look white. Okay, so what was I? Okay, never forget that they wanted to play me out as a psycho, emotional, thrown off, and more, type of person, as mental health is one of their main mechanisms that they use to stifle dissent. Okay, so at 16 years old, we see a key example of a female named Maria Mello, who had broken my heart at Live Oak High School, and her name, ironically, is Mello. M-E-L-L-O, and it's similar to the word mellow, right, with a W. And at that same age, in 1997, I became a Taekwondo Grand Champion, and I recorded at least 2 key songs that are very key in my story, because even though they edited it, made it so I sound like a weird nerd or something, made it so I sounded gayish. I'm not gay. I've never been gay. The lyrics are very telling. Okay, and this was just a little bit before I became a very serious sort of bitter person. If I'm not mistaken, I recorded them right before I went to camp, but I could be mistaken. In one song, okay, I wrote down some lyrics. They might be a little bit off. I've actually posted these songs on a different channel. If a lot of people in the comments ask me to, I'll try to dig them up, because I have like 15,000 plus videos posted online on different channels, but it shouldn't take that long. Maybe 10 minutes to find it. Could take longer. Okay, so, and again, they don't sound that great because I was just starting to rap, and there was psyops being run on me, and they've covertly edited them. But even the original versions, they weren't that great, right? That was me just, trying to flow with the lyrics that I had, and the lyrics are very interesting. So in one song I said, believe it or not, when I try to rap or sing or something, they interfere. It's a long story why that is and what they do, so I'm just going to kind of just try to read it a little bit at a time here. They try to keep me from martial arts in my culture, and I haven't done martial arts for a long time now, and I haven't really listened to any rap music that I was listening. I don't drive around playing music because it causes me to have cognitive damage. Long story, they're on it like that. So in one song I said, my doom is soon, G, feeling like a downcast, outcast, gloomy. See, I've always seen, but my fate is blind. Shots flying around me, hidden homies busting out gang signs. Thugged out streets, dealers barely making ends meet, do-rag, pants sag, a black dragon taking a drag. Chronic smoke fills my chest and lungs, relieving pain of 1,000 brothers hung. Literally and or metaphorically, a horror story, straight up treason, no reason. Gold teeth and chains covered with blood and brains, my boy's bandana changed. Blue to red, but still blue, a live borderline soldier to dead and true. The rain and smoke doesn't allow my tear-filled eyes to see normally. White man will never conform me, pal. Timing slightly off, another soul tossed. The greater network crossed. Nothing but war for the boss. Mind frame creating misplaced game. Dumb wild whorehands, they want a ball and ignore the deeper call. Y'all through stressing me. Much love Chestnut Street, got much game accumulated there. 5-0 hated, but the white boys can't fade it. In the Camaro jaded, freestyling about drama. My boy just lost his mama in a drive-by. I don't have any tears left, so I sigh. Mechloke ready to die. Retaliate in a rush, 'cause I'm high in this motherfucker. Okay. That was more or less one of the songs. You see some of the things are quite profound. You know, mind frame, creating misplaced game. It's making it clear that I'm analyzing people. I think deeply, right? I say that my problem with women at 16 years old is they want a ball and ignore the deeper call. And my heart was really in there again. You know, to me, Crip meant community, revolution, and progress. Christ rest in peace. So my concern with the deeper call, right? It's like a warrior song, and it's only gang related where it has to do with being a warrior and being deep, right? Chronic smoke fills my chest and lungs, relieving pain of 1,000 brothers hung, right? Talking about metaphorically, see, literally and or metaphorically. And so I was very well aware of these ideas. So as I read the Bible, you know, it's something I've understood for a long time, that it's not as simple as you jump to the conclusion that the miracles are literal. You have to understand poetry. You have to understand warfare. You have to understand deep thinking and what must be true. You have to understand a profound mental vision versus a fairy mental vision, and so on and so forth. So stay tuned. You know, part 4, there's some good stuff here. We're going to get into some key clashes very soon. It should be interesting.